What's up? This is Shadowrock and ProfoWon of the Floor Gangs and Knuckleneck Tribe.
And aloha kako. I'm Jasoul from Eternal Style Crew and BTR Breakin.
And you're watching the Gearhdz Breakcast, the Breakcast that hacks culture and movement. What's up, Jasoul?
Man, a lot is up, brother. Everything is good. All is blessed. It's finally cooling down in this dusty oven here in Las Vegas. Getting some nice weather, and yeah, everything's all smooth, my friend. How's everything with you?
Yeah, same here in San Francisco. It's cold. I was actually dancing in the cold today, shirtless, like a crazy person, but that's what you got to do. I hate it. Even though I do it, I hate it. I don't like it.
Oh, I love it, man. I love the cold, everything about it.
I'm the opposite. I'm like, yo, give me the heat. I'd rather practice in the heat than the cold, man. That's real. You know what I'm saying?
I guess.
But yeah, so besides the weather, what's going on with you, man?
Not a lot. Kind of getting my body prepped. As you know, I just moved back from Texas. Kind of getting settled back here in Las Vegas and kind of getting into the swing of things and developing a schedule and routine with training. That's kind of the one thing that holds my life together and everything. And yeah, because of that, all is good. I'm training like 3 days a week now, or kind of getting into it. And yeah, I feel incredible, man. Took a little break, in the transition, but yep, getting right back into the swing of things.
Cool. Yeah, I was doing I made a post about the thing you're talking about, where I did it slow. The music was in the background. It wasn't like I was dancing to the music. I did like a rollback 90, like a round, but I was holding certain static movements and just like, and flowing, but just not like trying to do as least energy as I can. Mm-hmm. And that post actually got a good traction. So yeah, man, that was kind of good discussion. And then we did on the Gearhdz.
Nice.
We did we did a hot take on that, on as far as just the discussion we had last week about training. Like that was like kind of the thing that was like, we talked about, which I thought was cool. You know what I mean? Which I thought was cool.
Dope, man. Did you come across any realizations when you were doing it slow? You kind of brought up an important point right there. Economizing, right? And minimizing effort in through either the transition or the position itself.
Mm-hmm.
Did you learn anything through doing that, or?
It's better. I just feel like it's nothing like new I learned. It was just more like, to me, that's, in my opinion, that's the best way to train. To segment the training, it's the best to train like in that sense. So I thought that was really dope. I thought it was cool. I thought it was like more productive, and I wish more people would kind of practice like that, because it's going to help you unlock movement. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, man, I'm really, really excited about our guest and about this topic. I would definitely love to get him in on that.
Yeah. Before we do that, let's clean some house first. So let's talk about how 65% of you are watching the content, yet you are not subscribed. We appreciate that you're watching the show, but we could do a lot more if you're subscribed. You can help us get monetized and, help us up the production. Maybe help us get to an event so we can interview people on a live stream. So again, press the like button first of this video, then subscribe, and then click the bell for notifications for when you want to see more content like this from the Gearhdz, from myself and Jasoul. So that's one thing. The other thing is, shout out to the sponsor, zenworld.com. Oops, wrong one. This one, boom. zenworld.com. You could go to the website and you get 15% off. And what will they get 15% off of, Jay?
Pretty much anything in the store.
And what's in the store?
The CBD, my friend. That's where you'll find CBD. So, they have topical and they have ingestible. That's basically, the two things that they carry. in all different shapes and forms. Whatever suits your particular need, it's all about recovery and pain relief and stress relief and optimizing your health. Ultimately, what Profo's holding right here is a tincture of concentrate right there. You can take it straight. You can put it in your tea, your smoothie, your favorite drink. Check it out, guys.
Yeah, and this basically what Jay said is basically helps regeneration, recovery, and you can get 15% off if you go to the website and put the promo code Gearhdz. You get that hookup. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. And before we move on to the main topic, you can check out the ProfoWon channel and watch the trade. So this past week, I did since it's October is Philam month, History Month, or Filipino American History Month. I did a whole episode on the influence of Pinoy B-boys and B-girls around the scene, and basically the contribution that I'm Filipino and that we've made to the breaking scene, because a lot of people don't know that a lot of these B-boys are Filipino. They just think that they might be either Chinese or Latin American from South America, but that's not the truth, So you could check out that on my ProfoWon channel on YouTube. So you could check out the trades over there. All right.
Yes, so check that out right there, the trades.
So the past few weeks on the Gearhdz, we've been talking about the breaking timeline. We went from the very beginning and the South Bronx with the Cool Herc generation, right? Which is like Ceasar, Dancing Doug, Trixie, Clark Kent, Bobo, Chuck, Mike G from Chuck City Rockers, Charlie Rock. We talked about all that type of stuff. Then we led up into what we know, then we led up from the Puerto Ricans doing it like Track 2 and Spy, and then Beaver and them. And then that led up to the Floormaster, Seven Deadly Sins, Rocksteady, Dynamic. And then we went further than that to the 80s. Then we got your, again, Dynamic Rockers. We talked about Incredible Breakers. We talked about New York City Breakers. And we kind of stopped around 1985 in New York. And Jay said to me, hey, you know what we need? We need to get the West Coast perspective. And who better yet to get the West Coast perspective? He was like, yo, can we get Little Caesar? I was like, yes, of course we could get Little Caesar. Let me hit him up. You know what I'm saying? And that's today's episode 20. Can you believe that we're episode 20? That's kind of crazy, right? If you think about it, that's kind of crazy, right?
Yep.
What are you thinking about that we're episode 20?
I think it's a big milestone, 20, man. Just the fact that we're being consistent. I know a lot of things that came up for both of us. We probably missed 1 week, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, but still,
make it up.
Of course, with the hot takes, it's we're pretty consistent, man. Consistent's the word.
I love where it's going, man. So we're 20 episodes deep, and we're essentially, getting the hidden information or the not spoken about information and bringing to light a lot of the, the figures, the, where the style came from, the different turning points and, eras where the standard was challenged. That's kind of, where we see it today, and to be able to, start from the beginning and bring it all the way up. We've done that in multiple ways, within the 20 episodes. So anybody who, if you're just tuning in or you haven't seen the earlier ones, it really reads really nice in the order that we have it. So definitely check it out. But yeah, man.
Yeah. So without further ado, I'd like to bring up our guest who's going to talk about the West Coast history, present and future, all the way from Los Angeles, California, representing Air Force Crew. We got my man, Little Caesar. What up?
What's up?
Let's go. Let's go.
There you go. So
let's go.
Let's look at the comments real quick. Oh, Roman says California knows how to party. All right. Okay. So Lil Caesar. So I mean, like we have a lot of new kids tuning in and parents. And you know, it's funny because the history for them, like, and I know this is unbelievable to say, but the history for the modern spectator and B-boy or B-girl is 2010. That's considered old school. You know what I mean? Wow. That's considered old school. It's 2010, right? Because that's about 12 years ago, right? So, you know, there's a lineage. This is like, you know, like they don't know about like how we even got here. So part of the show is to kind of like break that down, right? And we had different perspectives. We had Charlie Rock, one of the original Zulu Kings, talk about how he did it back in 74, 75. Then we had, you know, yeah, we had a few people like, you know, like why not talk about from like 98, 97, 98, 96 to about, you know, present day. I think you're the first one we're going to talk about the 80s actually, I think, right? Like we talked about, but we didn't interview anybody from that time period. You know what I'm saying?
Your first hand right now. I'm excited.
Yeah.
About
it. So you're the first that we're going to talk about, like, you know, the 80s, and not just that we're talking about the 80s. You're one of the pioneers. You're one of the people that like kind of innovated a lot of things and started a lot of things, and we'll get into that later. So the first question is for you, Caesar, and this is okay. I know that there was locking. I know that there was popping and roboting. But when did you first see or hear about breaking, though?
Well, first and foremost, Profo, thank you for inviting me, and Jasoul, thank you for both inviting me and including me in this interview, man. First and foremost, you know, I just want to, first and foremost, I want to give it up to our Heavenly Father, Jesus Christ. You know, I'm a Christian, and everything that I do, I got to involve Him because, you know, I glorify His name and I magnify His name and everything that I do, man. So, with that being said, yeah, so the first time I really laid my hands on breaking was about 1981, 82.
Damn.
It was around. It was in my neighborhood. You know, I'm actually originally from El Salvador. I came to the United States in 1981. So because of what was going on, you know, with the war in El Salvador, so many people were getting they were fleeing from the country, basically. You know, so I was very fortunate and blessed that my mom did an amazing sacrifice to go and really take us from El Salvador, and it was just a blessing that we were able to get visas, because at that time no one was getting visas, you know, so people were just fleeing. But thank God, you know, that and thankful my mom, because my mom is my hero, and thank her. I came here in 1981, you know, so that's how so when I came right down to downtown Los Angeles, which is like the MacArthur Park area, which is one of the roughest neighborhoods in downtown LA, which is west of downtown. So that's when I really laid my hands on breaking around my neighborhood, 7th and Union. Wow.
How old was it? I'm just curious.
Say again,
Jay.
How old were you when you came and when you first started breaking?
I was 12 years old. Ooh. And when I first I started popping before I started breaking. Like you said, Profo, you know, at that time, you know, popping was it. Locking was kind of almost going out of style, but popping was very, you know, up in the forefront. Everybody was really popping. So, you know, that's one of the things I learned, you know, how to pop.
Right. So what did it? So it wasn't. You didn't see on TV. You saw actual kids do it in the neighborhood. You actually saw people like hit the floor. Versus like you saw, okay, Star Wars came on, because Star Wars didn't even come on in 81. It was just So when you just saw kids, were they mixing, like, you know, a lot of people back then were like, I'm gonna pop into footwork. Was it more like that, or did you do straight up like top rock and then you did like, you know, sweeps and helicopters, or like what was your experience like with the first moves?
I think at that time it was just trying to learn one move at a time. It wasn't popping and going into breaking. No, it was very distinct. So either you pop or you break at the very beginning. So so we were, doing hand spins, doing a back spin, it's just the beginnings of that, or even attempt to even do a windmill. So
Really?
and you gotta remember, yeah, back then I didn't speak the language. So because I'm Latino, right? So I speak Spanish. So I couldn't speak the language. So the kids that I was watching, they couldn't speak Spanish either. So when I came and I came to this right in the corner of 17th Union, they had this body shop, and these guys were from Iran, right? So the Middle East, but basically were born here. And I looked at them, and they were like trying to figure it out. They were trying to do a backspin. They were trying to figure out how to do a windmill, and I just watched them, and I was like, it just opened up my mind, because I didn't know that you're able and capable to do that with your body. So I was like, oh my God, that is crazy. Like, I want to learn that. And I was this very active kid, with a lot of energy. So I watched them. I studied them, right? And I just went home, and I was practicing myself. And, a week later, I came back, because I was trying to speak. I was trying to talk to them, but they weren't paying attention to me. They were so busy with the dance.
Nice. Hey, if you don't mind, I ask, you said you were active as a kid. Did you play sports, or did you have any type of like gymnastics or, acrobatic or athletic background?
Yes. I would play soccer, and I was very active because I always go, fishing. And so I was always in the trees, like climbing up the trees, the coconut trees, the mango trees. So I was like almost like a monkey, man.
Well, nice. So did you do any footwork, or was it just straight like, let me figure out handspin, backspin, and windmill for you? Was it like?
Yeah, I think it was the handspin. I was just trying to figure out the handspin, and then also the backspin.
Right. And what was? Do you know the name of the? Was it a crew that was there in your neighborhood, or was it just a bunch of kids?
No, it wasn't a crew. It was just two individuals by the name of Amir Mojahed and Jose Alanis.
Nice. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So when you did it, were they like, oh man, he got it in a week? Like, were they tripping out? Like, oh, what the hell?
Well, remember, I was having a challenge with the language, so I was trying to speak to them, but they weren't paying attention to me. So I just watched them. So when I came back, then I started busting, and that's what grabbed their attention. Like, how did you learn that? What's your name? So it was just like we were trying to speak the same language, but we both spoke this different language,
But you guys were actually speaking the universal language, right? Movement, right?
That
you did the move, and they're
like,
wow, okay, we can communicate, right? We can relate. That's so awesome to hear, man. You're giving me chicken skin, because I come from the islands, and the first time you see it and it clicks, like, wow, our bodies can do this. And that sparked the journey right there. And that's really interesting that the hand spin and the back spin was your first moves. Those are some of the first moves I teach as well, especially the hand spin. A lot of people, they go past that. But before the mill, a lot of the moment of torque and inertia comes from being able to sort of stabilize your body right there in that stab position. A lot of value within that right there. For everyone listening, the hand spin, you heard it first from Ceasar right here.
Dude, Ceasar got the hacks, bro. He got the power move hacks, man. But yeah, so you saw the neighborhood kids. Did you guys start going to events? Was there any events or anything like that? Did Radiotron exist at that point, or this is still like, was there still crews that you ran into, or like, how did you get involved into now a forming scene, right? Because you guys probably were like, was everyone doing it, or there was only a select few that was breaking out and everyone else was popping?
Well, at that time, I was not really introduced to the scene yet. It was just those two friends. So I didn't know there was Radiotron, 7 blocks from my neighborhood, from my house. I didn't know that.
Seven blocks?
Yeah, it was 7 blocks.
That's access right there.
Yeah. Give me 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. All right. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, it's crazy because,
give me 1 second.
We went from we basically went from him being an immigrant, Ceasar being immigrant, and then going from that to like not even speaking English, and then meeting two kids around the neighborhood that could backspin and handspin, and then
Okay, guys, I'm back.
windmill. Okay, word.
Sorry about
And
that.
so you went from that. You didn't know that there was a scene, and then you lived 7 blocks away from Radiotron. So
That's right.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about from 81 to 82, 81, 82, 83. Let's talk about that.
So, so then what happens then? As I became friends with Amir Mojahed and Jose Alanis, they started talking about the movement. They started talking about where does everybody else hang out, because what happened was that I learned the move so quick that they actually wanted to take me, and they started telling me about that there was this place down the street where all the dancers that go, all the breakers, back then we weren't called ourselves b-boys. It was like all the breakers were down there. You should go look for it. You should go. It's down the street. So then I just kept that in my mind. Now I went looking for it. I went down the street. They pretty much told me approximately where it was, and then I found it. I found it basically, and it really said Radiotron.
Okay, so
go ahead, Jay.
I understand Radiotron to be a jam. You guys are telling me Radiotron's a community center and a practice spot. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, that's correct. And I want to clarify a few things too. And I would love to just share a little bit about how even Radiotron came to be, how the two names came to be. This is probably going to be, I don't know if I ever share this with anybody.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
But I'm just gonna tell how it is and the truth of it, right? So first and foremost, since you said let's go back to 81, 82, right? So by 1980 to about 82, Ice-T and this guy named AJ, they were promoters, and also the Glove. They used to run a club called Radio Club, and basically
DJ Glove.
Yeah, the DJ Glove. So
yeah,
so they used to run club radio. That's what everybody used to call it, which is an underground after hours, right? So that was from 1980 to about 1982. That by 1983 the movie Breakin came out. So when the movie Breakin came out, they filmed on location at the club. Right, and they were gonna use the actual club, and they were gonna pay AJ and Ice-T to actually for using the club. But what happened was that they didn't pay them. So AJ and Ice-T was like, "Hey, you need to pay us for the name if you're gonna put it in the movies." So what the producers did was that he called the graffiti artists, because they were painting the whole building. I'll show you how the building actually looked before they started even painting. Here's a picture.
Wow. Oh shoot! Hell yeah! Yes.
Oh, damn.
Yes. Thank you, Ceasar.
This is a picture of the building of Radiotron before it got even painted by the film industry.
Okay. How old is that building? It's like Spanish architecture.
Oh man, this building, man, it has history, man. I mean, Chaplin, right next, he used to go to this place. It was actually it was a kind of like a theater. But basically, so they came in, they started shooting the movie, and then AJ was like, "Hey, we need to get paid because you can't use our name." So then the producer called the graffiti artists. There were two graffiti artists, one from the East Coast and one from the West Coast. I believe that was Scene and Graph one from Shake City Rockers. They spoke to them. They say, "Hey, you need to change the name." So what happens is that in on the stage it said Radio Club. So they erased Club and they added Tron, and that's how the name Radiotron came to life.
Sick.
Crazy. That's dope.
So
this was like, was this? So it was more. Was there an age limit to go there, or was this like kind of open, like teens and up?
Well, remember this was an underground, so it was supposed to be an adult. But a lot of the 16, 17-year-olds that would go there, but there was a lot of negative things were going on at that time when Ice-T and AJ used to run it, because they used to find drugs. basically, So yeah, basically. And so then what happened was that here comes this person by the name of Carmelo Alvarez, who's from out here on the West Coast. He came, and his dream was to actually have a youth break center. And then he becomes good friends with the owner of that building. And then the owner of the building was getting heated by the Rampart station, which is the police station down the street, letting them know, hey, we have to shut that place because drugs were being found there. So then the owner said to Carmelo, hey, if you kick those guys out, I'll give you the building. It's yours, and you can do your youth center. It's kind of like a performing arts, basically, because he was all into the arts, drama, acting, and so on and so on. So Carmelo comes into the picture, which really didn't know so much about hip hop at that time, or maybe he's seen it. But as he walks in to try to make friends with Ice-T and AJ and all of them, they basically confronted themselves, and it was like a crash. They didn't want to hear it from each other, so it was like big problems. So at that time, Carmelo had no other choice, because the person that the producer wanted to speak with is the person who was holding the lease of the building. So guess who they spoke with? Was Carmelo.
Wow.
Was Carmelo Alvarez. And so from 1980 to 82, right? So this is now 83 we're speaking. Then now the name Radiotron, actually Canon Films were the owners of the name. They owned the name.
Okay.
They copyrighted it at that time. So I know a lot of people, even me as a youngster, 13, 14 years old, I thought Carmelo owned it. David Guzman was another person that came from New York, was also that partnered up with Carmelo, and I thought they both owned it, and they acted like they both owned it, but they were really running because they were the director of it. But later did I not know that, because I did the research, I found out that Canon Films was the one who registered the name, so they were the owners of it until 1993.
Okay,
so from 83
here,
to 93.
Okay, so can we say that Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo Saving Miracles was based kind of like instead of miracles, you guys, the story was about maybe Radiotron?
It's exactly it. It's exactly it. It's exactly it, because
I knew it.
It's exactly it. We were those kids marching to City Hall, like in the movie. We were the ones, and actually recently I just posted a picture.
Yeah, I saw that on your Instagram.
Of me doing the windmills. That we're marching so that we can save the Radiotron in 1985.
Damn.
Yes.
So that's reality. So Carmelo tried to make a deal with the movie producers, and then Carmelo shared their story, what was happening to us at that time, because what was happening was that the city wanted to shut it down because the building was not up to spec. So they wanted to shut it down. So we were like, well, let's raise some money. Let's march to City Hall. Let's talk to city officials. And this is all Carmelo's work. And then we're just behind him, as dancers, as kids. Like, we don't want our youth break center to be taken away, because this is our place. This is our home. This is where we train. This is where we practice, right? So that's the picture of like me back in 1985. Taken by right in front of City Hall, downtown Los Angeles. You can see the poster of KDAY there. Ozrock is there. Got the check
So that's what I thought. I was like, if Radiotron was a place, I bet. And then when you said Canon Films Canon Films owned Breaking, right? They owned that's why. And if you do your research on Canon Films, that's why Special K Kelly is in Ninja 3: The Domination. She's like the main actress. Because that was a Canon Films film.
Very good.
And even Bloodsport was Canon Films, and in the first Breaking, you see Jean-Claude Van Damme in the background because he was signed to Canon.
Oh, damn! You put the pieces together, dude.
That was that scene.
I do my homework, sir. I do my homework. Check this out. Man. Now, this is a story. I'm going off of Breaking, but I'm excited because you were there at this time.
You're absolutely right. You guessed it right, because the film was all about Air Force and Radiotron. It was about Air Force crew and Radiotron. We were the ones we were supposed to be featured in the film, and unfortunately, we weren't featured. And even Mr. Animation, he got a small little part, you know. And then at the end, Canon Films was supposed to donate if the movie blew up and it made a good amount of money. They promised that they were going to donate money back to Carmelo Alvarez to actually get the building up to spec, so then we can maintain the facility, so then we can continue to train. But in the movies, they saved it because someone donated, someone wrote a check. But in reality, no one wrote a check to us, and we went back to the streets. So they shut Radiotron.
So check this out. I'm gonna pull this up. This is not breaking though, right? But this is something that I'm like, this is some like, if people didn't know about the power of Radiotron in the 80s. I'm gonna bring this image up real quick. So there goes Ice-T, right? So this is one of his original albums, right? So this girl right here, she has a story that she said she met Ice-T, this girl, at Radiotron. Who introduced?
That's right.
Do you know the story? Who introduced them?
Animation and ourselves. We were all actually, because see, Darlene used to go out with one of our guys, which is Ozrock. It was the girlfriend of Ozrock.
So she used to date Ozrock.
She used to date Ozrock.
What the heck?
And unfortunately, Ozrock went to Asia, and he came back with somebody else, and find the love of his life, and basically he came down, and of course they broke up. And Ice-T walked in. I remember I was all there. Animation was there. Kid Tough was there. We were all there. And I remember Ice-T. We were all talking in front of the radio, inside the building, because it was like a Saturday night. And then Darlene walked in, and she was, this is a very gorgeous, young girl at that time that everybody wanted to actually be with. Ice-T saw her, and she's like, "Who is that?" And that's Darlene. That's her, that's our friend Darlene, and then Animation introduces to Ice-T.
Dang. Now we just pulled some hip hop history for your ass out there. Sorry for the cussing.
So the Ice-T you're talking about from the club before Carmelo came in is Ice-T?
Yeah,
Ice-T. That guy who's the actor.
DJ Glove. That's why when he said DJ Glove, Ice-T and DJ Glove. We all get reckless. Do it. That's Ice-T. Reckless.
Yeah, so we knew Ice-T before he became really famous, because we used to dance. Air Force crew used to dance. We all used to dance with these shows together. With Ice. Yeah, that's the same Ice-T.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, hip hop is bigger than just breaking. Like Radiotron, like CJ didn't know that. I knew it was a center. Yeah, I did my homework.
Yeah, it became a center, and I became a center in 1983 when Carmelo Alvarez took over the building. Now he created a nonprofit called the Youth Break Center, and according to Carmelo, he what he told me was that Canon Film actually, because he wanted to use the name, he couldn't use the name. No one could use the name because it belonged to Canon Film. So that's why Carmelo created the Youth Break Center, and he asked Canon Film for permission if he can actually use the name. And according to Carmelo, he said they allowed him to use the name, but it doesn't belong to Carmelo. It doesn't belong to David Guzman. Originally, it belonged to actually Canon Films.
So this is Radiotron right here.
To my surprise, this is in 1980, 84, yeah.
So this is Radiotron. That's you, right?
Yeah, that's exactly. I was about 14.
And this is Radiotron right here.
Exactly.
Oh, dope. Hell yeah. So this is what year again?
This is either 84, 85.
Y'all were doing 90 windmill already in 84?
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, at that time, I mean, Orko was doing some incredible things that just ahead of his time. We're all ahead of our time. This is Big Girl Yvonne from Air Force. Check out her flares.
Oh. Nice.
And she had really good headspins too. This is our Airmaster. This is Patrick. Now this guy, it reminds me of he has some incredible flares. His flares came just so naturally, flared to 1990, back to flare, reverse, both ways. He reminds me of Jay, just because the way he was breaking. And he did back then in 1985. Oh, this is animation.
Animation, yeah. Rest in
peace.
power.
Rest in peace. Yeah, absolutely, man. This is animation. So we've been, wow, just memories seeing animation. Yeah. He's actually one of the guys that, he's an entertainer. Absolutely, one of amazing entertainer. Now this is Orko.
Word.
Orko he had some incredible headspins. Say again.
Sorry, is Orko your elder? Like, did you?
Yeah, or we're the same age. Orko and I were basically the same age. But he started breaking a little earlier before me, a couple of months before.
Damn, look at that. Damn.
Yeah, we call those L headspins.
Nice.
So
so this is like right before it died. So we went from 81 to now we're like 84,
85,
right?
84, 85, right? Mm-hmm.
Right.
Exactly.
And so I guess Hollywood starts coming in, and breaking starts getting big in the 80s. Is that when you guys met Ozrock?
Yeah. So our the way we made it, I want to make something straight too. I want to clear something, because there's been some misunderstanding, because see, Ozrock is from Rhode Island, New York. When he came out here to California, like I said, we didn't watch the New York City Breakers. We didn't watch Ozrock. We didn't watch nobody, except when the movies came out. Breakin. And then right after Breakin, Beat Street came out. And then Electric Boogaloo right after that. So it was like back to back. So Ozrock came to hang out with the guys who were in the movie. He hung out with the producers and directors of the films of Electric Boogaloo. And he came and he created a crew called the Wizards of Oz, which was in the Orange County area. Now these are the crew that's actually dancing in the movies. They're called the Rockin' Wizards. Okay. And then Ozrock meets them, right? Now when we met Ozrock, and I believe we met him even at Venice Beach, or he came to the Radiotron. Now Orko and I, we were already good. Our power was already developed. Like basically, Orko was like, incredible. If you can go back, show you some more footage besides that footage. I have some other footage that I haven't even posted anything yet, but there's footage where you can see like 3 months later the difference, of elevation of the dance. So when we met Ozrock, we were already good. Now Ozrock didn't teach us, and I know he said it in the video. He said it in the video that he got Orko and Ceasar. I got this two kids that I taught them, and and they're like they're the best for for right now. That's what he said. But he didn't really teach us. But Ozrock inspired us, because Ozrock also had something very, very unique. His presence, the way he top rock, the way actually Ozrock was the first guy who took me to my first audition in Hollywood.
Okay.
So Ozrock was like a mentor to, like, man, I wanted to be this guy, because this guy he was in the movies. He was doing Body Rock. He did the Mountain Dew.
It seemed like he was doing all the commercial stuff, right?
Yes.
Did you meet him before the pilot or after the pilot?
After the pilot. We didn't meet Ozrock until everything has already came out. Everything. We met Ozrock towards the end, actually, I would say like maybe the end of 84, maybe 85, we met Ozrock.
Okay. Wow. So this is almost the time Breaking is almost kind of, the last of its legs, right?
Yeah, I would say a good 7 months. Ozrock was in solid gold, but the way he did his power was amazing. Ozrock had that very dynamic power. Now, he didn't sit down on us and he taught us.
Right here.
He didn't do none of that, right? Yeah, he just had that just that dynamic power, full on, with such passion, and he just had that character as well that we admire, Right. But Ozrock did not teach us, even though he was very dynamic of what he did, but he did influence or inspire us, because we were looking up to him because of the things that he was doing.
Right. There goes Ozrock
That's right.
doing the jerk.
Yeah,
I saw this. I
this is
discovered
body
this
rock. I believe
a few nights ago. I was like, oh my god, this is corny, but I could see what you're saying because he was always you could tell he was good at talking in front of the camera. Like
very
he was,
good. He's a good actor.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, he was
So
really good. And like I said, he inspired us. You know, he was an amazing friend as well because we got to know each other, got to meet his family. You know, and we you know we ate we broke bread. You know what I'm saying? We broke bread together.
right.
You know? So yeah, man. But you know, rest in peace, Osrock, man. He's an
Yeah,
amazing,
rest in peace.
There's so much history behind him as well, and what he did, what he's done in
So
the scene.
so he's kind of like what's happening kind of now that happened in the late like mid 2000s is like everyone moving from Florida or New York because of Hollywood. So Ozrock was like he's from Rhode Island, and you know movies and entertainment it was all L.A. right like. And you saw that like the mid 2000s with all the like you know like everyone like everyone from Flea Rock to Beast Mode to
Texas, Miami.
Flips, everyone because of Hollywood, right?
They move out here.
Yeah. So okay, so all right, so just to go back a little bit during the Radiotron times, so there's a name that you know you just said Shake City, right? So who's Shake City and how did they inspire you guys?
Well, Shake City is one of the first groups out here in the West Coast besides LA Breakers. You know, there were like brothers that it was Greg and Alvin, Alski, Rick. Actually, Oracle became also a part of Shake City. This is how I would say this is like pretty much, you know, one of the first guys that were a little more advanced. They were doing a lot more of the footwork, the top rocking. They were so fresh and doing all that rock, like all the rocking, all the op rocks. You know, they had it packed down, and they had like really cool, really good footwork, and they were holding that down. And yeah, so let's see who else. Alski, like I said, Alski, Greg, and Alvin. They had a movement because they had rappers, they had graffiti artists, they had b-boys, they had poppers, basically all the elements, and they had DJs.
And this is around 83?
Yeah, this is around 82, 83.
Okay. So you guys, and so they're older than you guys. Like they're older.
Yeah, they're a little yes. They're a little older than us. Yep.
So what made you guys go, okay, well, we're gonna fly. How about and then like what made you guys go? Well, obviously the name's Air Force, right? So you guys are trying to fly. So what, you know, because you like you said, they were doing like, you know, they're doing more of the up rocks, they're doing the top rocks, they're doing more of the footwork. What made you, and you said you didn't see Beat Street, so you didn't see New York City Breakers or and any of them. What made you, and that's like 85. So you guys were doing like windmill 90 windmill already at that point. So what made you guys go, okay, we're going to go this way. We're going to go this way with that. Shake City's doing this, but we're going to go over here. Air Force is going to do this.
Right. Well, you know, we learned the basics, you know, we loved footwork. We loved everything as that they were doing. But for me, you know, when we started experimenting and we started being in the unknown and really putting combinations together, you know, from, like you said, you know, going from a windmill to a flare to a 1990, for some reason it was just a different feeling. So we started doing windmill to 90. Like Oracle was the first one who did windmill to 1990 ever, you know. And we started. We wanted to actually. So what we did, we took care. We took the spinning side of it. We wanted to spin more. We wanted to make everything longer. We wanted to make everything look a little bit more cleaner. We wanted to, as I said, we needed to actually fly, right? So when people started seeing us that we were doing flare to 1990 back to windmill, and Oracle was going windmill 1990 back to windmill headspins in longer combinations, we were not even touching the ground. And it just we fell in love with the spinning and the extension of the actual move. So New York was all about doing a drill. We were all about extending the drill. You know, going from 3 or 4 drills to like 10 headspins or even more. So that's what we focus in. So we started doing 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and really started to master the move, and not just master it, but also elevate the move. And that came to the training, to how much passion we have for it and how much time we were dedicating to the dance, because we were training. Dude, it was between 5 and 7 hours. It was between 5 and 7 hours.
How many days a week?
Every day, including Sunday. Ooh. Every day. It was, dude, I flunked the 9th grade because I didn't want to go to school. I just wanted to dance.
Yes.
I went, and guess what? I went to radio. We would go to Radiotron, and we were just so in love with it. It was like being at the lab, trying to like master and putting combinations together. You know, I mean, come on. I've never seen anybody back then doing a double halo. Like Orko was doing double halos. Like back in '85, I don't know who else was doing double halos. We didn't see it. So what happened was that since we were doing all the and back then we didn't call it power moves. What we did was it was air moves. Everything was about it being in the air. That's what we call it, air moves. So so LA Breakers and all the crews, they were looking at us, and then some of the guys used to wear Nike as well. And then they started calling us, there comes the guys from, there comes the guys from Air Nikes. They started calling us Air Nikes, right? Some of the guys used to wear that. I couldn't afford Nike at that time, right? But so then one time led to another. We were. I remember going to a jam, and we were all in a car, and we started saying, "Look, man, we're looking different than everybody else. We need a name." And that's how the name Air Force came, because we say, well, everything we do it in the air, and we do it with such powerful, right? With such power, and that's how the name Air Force came together.
This is, we hear the term West Coast power. You're talking about the genesis of West Coast power right there. That all the.
This is it. This is Orko. I mean, if you saw what he did earlier, that combination was pretty crazy. I don't know. This is 84, 85. I don't know. I mean, I didn't see anybody doing that. Now, this right here, this is in Las Vegas. This is Kuriaki, Buck 4, and Orko and Osrock. This is in Vegas. They were doing a performance, and this is this is 1985. This is Japan, where we're back 1995.
Oh,
this is 10 years later. That's Orko.
Orko, shout out to Orko. He's out there in ATL now.
Yeah.
When did he get down with Rocksteady?
This is Orko.
I don't want to jump ahead.
In 90, yeah. I think he got down with Rocksteady in 1996, by 96, 97, when Jam in the Groove.
I was about to say that.
Because of Jam in the Groove.
Damn, man.
Yeah, we're just ahead of our times, Jasoul.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said, so 85, you guys are advanced. Like, I think from what you're talking about, it seemed like everyone because I've heard there's stories I hear about like incredible breakers in around that time, 85. I hear about there's footage of Sidewalk from San Jose. They're already like doing next level stuff, right? Like you guys, right? So 85, it seems like that's when you guys were like starting to reach this peak, and then all of a sudden it died in America. What was that? What exactly was that for you? Was it 85? Was it 86? Tell us that story when you guys didn't get appreciated, and it took the wind off of your sails too. Like it made you want to go, okay, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore.
Yeah, that was by 1986 when Radiotron got demolished, and a few things happened. But going back with what you just said with sidewalk breakers, the guys from New York, because even New York City Breakers, because when I talked to New York City Breakers, when I first saw the New York City Breakers, I saw them, and when they performed for the president of the United States, I think it was President Reagan. When I saw Little Alex, because
Alex,
right, Little Alex, when I saw him, we were like, dude, he's doing our moves. We were like, he's doing our moves, but we were like, dude, we can destroy this guy, Yo,
Lil Alex was ahead too. When we first saw Lil Alex, we were like, yo, he's doing combos.
Yes, he was at that time before everybody else, all the guys from New York City Breakers. But that was the attitude. When we saw them, we were like, oh my God, these guys are they're dope. We say, oh, these guys are dope. But man, you know, we were like giving ourselves credit as well, because what we saw that we at that time, we had like taken that dance, we had elevated it, you know. And I think when we saw little Alex, we were like, okay, this guy is good, but we can take these guys. So when I talked to the New York City Breakers, and when they came out here and we had a conversation, they were like, you know, they're telling us, you know, guys, I said, Ceasar, what you guys did, what Air Force did, is what we wanted to go. You guys took it where we wanted to go. You know, and because, you know, we saw them, so, you know, because we were like, wow, these guys are amazing. And that's when we started wearing tights, because of that video. We started wearing tights. A lot of people don't even know about that. Like the whole gear.
I think even for Sidewalk, same thing, right? When they saw New York City Break, because it was different, right?
Yeah, man. They put a stamp. They put a stamp, man.
Right. It was like, let's not wear the Pumas and the Adidas anymore. Like, this is athletic. Let's wear tights, right?
Hey, Ceasar,
exactly.
Why do you think you guys were different? Like,
well, because
to take it to the next level.
Because what we did was we actually elevated the dance. We brought in some of the combinations. For instance, you know, when we go from Windmill to 1990 to Hespins, no one was doing that. Not even Sidewalk Breakers were doing that. I mean, I've never seen that. I mean, they were doing some other incredible combinations, but what we did is we put the combinations together and we elevated it, and then we master it. And I think what we've contributed was we didn't create, I will say, the dance, because we didn't create the dance. I mean, our props goes to the guys who basically, you know, the first generation of B-boys. You know, I mean, props goes to all of them and what they contributed to this culture. But what we did was, what made us different, it was that we were in the air. We had combinations that never been done, and also we elevated it, and we master it. That's what we've contributed to the culture of this amazing dance. And the way we did it was such a dynamic power. Yeah. That's what West Coast power is very different than East Coast, you know?
Yes, West Coast power, man. Definitely. So do you think it was your training ethic, the camaraderie, you know, you, Orko, the people you're surrounded by, also having Radiotron in the place that you guys practice at? Did that contribute to you guys being able to elevate it and master it? Like,
I think our hunger, you know, our hunger and our passion, our discipline, our focus, you know, wanting to learn and be the best you can be, you know, because at that time when you're young, you know, you have this mindset of like, you want to take everybody out, you know, and but I think Orko and I, we were the ones that trained the longest. You know, we went and did the work. We put in the work, you know, and thank God we had Radiotron, because when we had a facility where we can actually train. But if we didn't have Radiotron, we did it at school. We did it after school. We did it in the park. We did it in the malls. We did everywhere we went. We actually did it. We did it in the arcades, right? We did it in the streets, everywhere we did, because we wanted we wanted to be the best. That's what we did. We wanted to be the best. And remember, we didn't have a skateboard. We had no bikes. All we had was the dance, you know, and that's something that was probably the most things we can afford to, right? So
you're saying, so when Radiotron burned down, and you said that was 1986, were you guys really like the last to kind of just hold on to it? Because like I'm sure everyone else was moving on to like what you guys called Club Nouveau, right? Like the Running Man, like the Smurf, the Fila, the Cabbage Patch, Roger Rabbit. Yeah. So everyone started, because like it happened for me when I was like 10 years old. Same thing. Kind of like, why are you doing that old stuff? This is what's going on now, right? And that was like, I was 10. But for you, you're already what, 15, 16, 17. What discouraged you to keep going, even though like you know, because like some people just quit straight up. So let's hear that story a little bit.
Yeah. So 1986, Radiotron was shut down. You got to keep in mind there's a few things that were coming into place. Music was shifting. That was a big one, because when the music shift, the dance shift. Okay, so Radiotron was shut down. We were all going back into the streets. Okay, now breaking got prohibited. You couldn't dance on malls. You couldn't dance in the schools. You couldn't dance in the streets. If you would get caught dancing in the streets, you would get a ticket. Now the doctors, some of the kids were getting injured, and there was this big thing that it was all over the news that this kid tried to do headspins on a mattress, broke his neck, and it was all over the news. So basically,
I remember that.
It gave us
I was a kid, so my mom was like, "Don't do that.
Don't do that, right?" So it brought fear and worry to their parents. So doctors were telling their parents through the news and the articles to stop this type of dance because it was too dangerous. What about football and skateboarding? Right? Isn't that dangerous too? So that and then you had within ourselves, but you were saying, Profo, you were saying that we started distancing ourselves because that dance was kind of like, it was looked upon like it's too old. Like people started dissing it, including ourselves, right? And then we were not even allowed to even dance in clubs no more, right? And then when music shifted, it went from an upbeat to a slow down beat. This is when gangster rap was coming in, MWA, right? Ice-T.
Let's be real. Ice-T changes. He went from like DJ Glove to Reckless to like he made more money from Colors than he did from any of the soundtracks from Breakin.
There you go. So
at 6 in the morning, like that song was like,
yeah, it was a hit, man. So there you go. So and then what happened was that, man, all the drugs came into Los Angeles, and it was just I think a dark moment in the history of our dance, of the culture, because it was now became about it was not about who was the best in dance. It was more like, hey, I got more power than you, and I'm gonna take you out with guns and shoot you and kill you. So basically it became more about territorial, and it became so dark that now music was dictating the feeling of like, because the music was, remember, a lot of the kids that were in the hoods, they became rebellions, right? And it was put on record. So that makes you want to pick up a gun and go shoot somebody. So it became a war zone between the B-boys, the poppers, the lockers, and pretty much within that scene. So there was so many drive-bys in the freeways. It was just crazy. Now, so music shifted. So all that had a combination, and then the media, they do what they do. I don't blame the media. I mean, I know so many people do, but I don't blame it. They do what they're going to do. They're going to talk good or bad about it. In most cases, they're going to talk bad about it, right? So basically, that's what happened from 1986 to about 1990. That was the dark area of, that was just the dark moment in time when people were killing each other.
Jeez.
I remember when I was a kid, we all used to like, we weren't breaking, but we were tagging, right? We were tagging, like I was like 11, 12.
Yeah.
And then it went from that to like when Colors came out, then everyone was a Crip and Blood all of a sudden. Like it was like literally like overnight. Like out, and for you guys, it's been happening. But for I was in San Francisco, I was like, what happened? What happened to like just hitting your name up? Now everyone's like, you have to, there's Colors involved in this and that.
Yes. That's because of, like you said, Ice-T, Colors. It just, either you're a Crip or you're a Blood.
And it was crazy. Did you find yourself within that that scene when all that was happening?
Yeah, man. I was, like I said, for me, right after I stopped breaking, there was like this new movement of music that came in. So I was always drawn into dance because it wasn't just breaking. I just love music and dance. So I started learning a little bit the Cabbage Patch, the Roger Rabbit, right? The Running Man. I started going into that, and then disco came in, which is we were dancing to all that freestyle music when disco came in from like by 87, and then there was a lot of clubs So so now there was a time where that if you were in a car club, or and you became that club became dancers, and it was like a new movement coming in at the same time within all the stuff that was happening because of the new music. So I became a part of a club. In that club, I was still competing in dance, basically. But then that club turned into a gang, and it no longer became a club because all the clubs, they all turned into a gang. So I was within about 2 years, I got caught up in all that stuff, where I got in trouble, I went to jail, and I just got caught up in doing things that I shouldn't even be doing in the first place. To even think about it now, I'm like, my God is so just and so faithful that, man, I'm thankful that I'm alive even now, even to tell you this story, because in every block there were gangs, every block. So in every block there was gangs.
Was this the Heshra look right here? Kind of like, Geraldo, Rico Suave.
Yeah, no,
like...
this is a little bit more like Lady, more like in the early 91.
Okay. Because they're doing like kind of those, like right here, they're doing kind of like those
89.
Coco and them.
Yeah, that was like that. I think that's about maybe 90, 91.
Word. Okay.
Yeah, because he was he used to lock. He breaks.
Oh,
too.
word.
Yeah. He used to lock. Gerardo used to lock. Yeah, he was a locker.
So okay, so you guys, so it was the dead period, right? So it died. What was the first time when you start to see it coming back?
Well, once I was getting my life together, in 1989, I stopped everything. I didn't want to go hang out with my friends no more. I wanted to just change my life, and then just I went back to school. I took some classes. I went back to college, and so one time, Chuco from Air Force shows up at my house all of a sudden, and I'm like, how did you know I live here? First and foremost, he just showed up, and then he said, hey, Ceasar, Breakin is coming back. This is 1989. I was like, what? Breakin's coming back? Yeah. He goes, I haven't stopped dancing. I haven't stopped breaking. He goes, I just came from Malaysia. I just came from a tour. He was like, dude, why don't you come and practice with me? I was like, really? Yeah, come and practice. As a matter of fact, there's this club called Water the Bush up in Hollywood. I said, let's go. Because right there, they're actually, everyone's dancing. Everybody was freestyling, but they're getting down.
Who owned this club?
Ice-T and Islam, and Africa Islam. There you go again.
There you go again. Africa, shout out to Africa Islam, man.
And Ice-T, right? So he shows up, and I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, man. You don't dance. I'm like, no, I'm not dancing, man. I'm just getting my life together, and so Chuco at that time. Now I know Chuco since the 80s. I didn't have a relationship with Chuco because Chuco used to come to Radiotron, and he used to practice like on the side, and he used to watch us all the time. We were just wondering like who he was because we didn't know him, but I remember him. And so when he showed up, so he took me to this club in Hollywood. I show up, everyone is freestyling. Everybody's freestyling. They all got into the circle. They all freestyle. There's a crew called the Scheme Team with Kalani.
Scheme Team. Shout out to Scheme Team.
Yeah, with Kalani, rest in peace, and all the fellows from the Scheme Team. And these are some of the guys that actually they used to pop and they used to break as well. And also the Jungle Brothers, right? Some of the guys.
They dance for Def Jeff, yeah.
Yeah, man. That's exactly.
I do my homework, buddy. I do my homework.
Some of the guys from LA Breakers. People that were actually doing, what was that TV show? In Living Colors. Remember In Living Colors?
They became Farside. Two of a Kind. I think the name was Two of a Kind became Farside.
Arthur from LA Breakers was the choreographer, the assistant choreographer of In Living Colors. So you can start to see that they were all into like basically getting down and freestyling. Now, some of them also started going into the floor. This is where I meet Robbie Static.
Shout out to Robbie.
Shout out to Robbie. I meet him, and now he blows me away because he's doing crazy stuff where we left off. And when I saw him doing halos, double halos, and windmill 90, but in a very different way, I was like, whoa. And his head spins. So this guy is really advanced. He's like very advanced. Now me, I'm just coming in fresh. Like I haven't done flares in a couple of years, like 2-3 years, right? And these guys is like just inspires me, man. And the music comes on, and here I go.
What kind of music was in this?
Well, it was all the you know that just the whole new music in '89. You had all the what is that what was the name of the songs that were playing? But it wasn't gangster. It wasn't gangster music. It was that whole new music that's coming in. I can't remember.
Music, like
yeah, it was just new music coming in.
Was it hip hop or no? It wasn't.
No, it was hip hop. Yeah. You know that song, Jump.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Oh man, what was the name of that? All those songs.
So is it all the Tribe Called Quest stuff?
Yeah, but it was really upbeat. And then sometimes they would throw some
Jungle Brothers kind of had kind of stuff like that.
Yeah. So but then they threw some old school as well, you know. And that's what.
Oh, so like maybe something like Public Enemy got you guys hyped.
That's it. Public Enemy.
Yeah, there you go. Shout out to Shockley Brothers. They used the ultimate breaks and beats. Come on.
There was another crew too. These guys are from they're from Europe somewhere. There was another crew that they had a real hype song, man. It's like jump, something with like everybody up, like jump, something like that. But anyways, that's when I saw Robbie, and it just blew my mind, and I got inspired. Then Chuco says, "Hey, you want to come and practice?" I said, "Yeah, I want to go practice." So I started practicing with Chuco, and then Robbie, we hooked up, and then he starts telling me his story about us, and basically, and he never actually stopped dancing. Robbie was one of the guys that started, and he kept going, and he actually mastered this incredible dance, man. All the power moves. There you go, Soul Train. This is Chuco to the left. Chuco to the left, and I myself on the right. Right, we're dancing to TLC. I ain't too proud to beg.
So
Right.
this is when I first saw you, Ceasar. That's when.
Really, 1991 or 92. That's Soul Train.
Yeah,
now,
I first saw you there.
Yeah,
I first saw you on Soul Train Saturday morning. That's when I first saw you. Was this thing? And I was like, "Yo, there's this little Mexican guy, man. He got head spins, bro." Like.
Man.
So let me set this story up. So we see you on Soul Train. Okay, this is like you said. That's 1992. That's when the Bay Area was really. We had a scene. We had 60 crews.
Absolutely, yes, I remember.
We had 60 crews. No one in America. I don't care what no one says. No one in America had as many people. Maybe we weren't good. Yeah, we weren't like the best.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as practitioners and scene and people going crazy, yeah, we had it. Every weekend, at least 200, 300 people, right? That's just what it was. That's where the party was. And, I just did an episode on the Filipino influence on that. Like, how did we get to these parties and stuff? So we see you on Soul Train. We're like, yo, because, we're used to B Street. We didn't know about Kid Freeze. We didn't have the footage, sidewalk footage. We didn't have the footage from 85. We just knew that you did 20 windmills, you're a king, right? We didn't even know about the concept of combos. Yeah. And then, we're doing our thing, and there's this party, this guy named from the original Renegades, who was a Knuckleneck tribe member. His name was Gizmo. He had a birthday party.
That's right.
But there was a Zulu Nation party, and that's when I was at that party. I was at Raffles, and it was.
That's right, Raffles.
We saw B-Boy Access, aka Easy Rock. We seen Fresh, Freeze, Nonstop, and then I remember I said, "There goes the guy from Soul Train!" Like when we saw you, It's him. It's the guy. It's a guy who can headspin on Soul Train. So I was at that party, and even till this day, like Korean rock still posts. Like I remember you up rocking Crazy Legs at that party. You know what I mean? Even Vic from Renegades, he was at that party.
Yeah,
my boy Grump was at that party.
Yeah, I've been.
That was the first time.
Yeah. I've been to Oscar. I think Oscar was at that party.
Yes. Oscar was at that party too.
Yeah.
So I was 16 at the time. So I was just like, you know, we seen like these are superstars to us, right? These are guys that were on TV. You know what I mean? Legs was in Star Wars and you know Beat Street, but you were on Soul Train. And then I saw Fresh do a Windmill 90. It's like, what the? I think that's the first time we seen Body Glides in person. It's like, what? Because you know we were just used to like 10 windmills. Maybe you did a headspin. Maybe windmill headspin. You're king back then, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you come up to the Bay and you see that there's a scene, right? Because in LA there was no scene yet. There was just guys there was just like you, Iceman, right? There was Graham, Zulu Gremlin, and tell us a little bit before you start coming to the Bay. Tell us a little bit, like, did you go to the hip hop shop a lot or not? Sometimes, what?
No, yeah, absolutely. So here I come back again. I'm back into training. You know, 89, 90, 91. Next thing I know, I come into the hip hop shop down in Melrose. I started getting to actually meet Zulu Gremlin. I started to meet Hex for the first time as well. And then
shout out to Hex.
Shout out to Hex. And everybody just started to actually, gather there, and to my surprise, I was like, man, this is such a cool place, man. You got the gear, you got the graffiti art, and then you got the, Hex was like put a dance floor, and we were all getting down. I was just so happy to come back into the scene again. I pick up a magazine called Hype from Australia. To my surprise, Oracle and my name is in. I mean, I'm reading. I was like, they're asking about Ceasar and Oracle. What happened to these guys? And I'm like, how do these guys know about us? How do these guys know about us? That pumps me up. I get really inspired by that, So I started to train. I go back into discipline mode. Like, okay, I see what Robbie does. I gotta just sharpen my skills, and then move on from that. Then I meet then Legs comes around, then Wiggles comes around, then of course Robbie comes to the hip hop shop, Willpower as well, and then all of us, and then Iceman, Easy Rock, and we're all just getting down. Also Design from LA Breakers, Fresh, Nonstop, Captain Freeze. So we're all there watching, and we're like happy. Like a happy family because we haven't seen each other in such a long time. Photo shoots are happening. We're getting interviewed, magazines, and so from there, all of a sudden, I don't know how I connected with Aki Octaviano. I know how I connected. I know how I connected with him. Octaviano came and did a show at Florentine Gardens. I think it was in 1991. And I saw him do headspins, and we performed because Animation used to do a performance in the middle of the night. And then Animation will bring us on, and then we will create a show. And Octaviano came with some dancers, and Octaviano got down and did a whole routine, and then he did headspins. So that's where him and I hooked up, and then we connected. And then so I believe Octaviano was probably the first guy who brought me to San Francisco. Who brought me there, kind of wanted to just come and hang out, come and practice. I think I was already, I don't know if I was in Soul Train or not yet, but we just hooked up and introduced me to some of the youngsters, which are the youngsters of the Renegades, right? Like Wicked, and some of the other guys.
D-Rock,
So we were like, we were all already, I was already polished when I came back.
And that's where I'm gonna pull up right now. So I'm gonna pull up right now.
Ben, you're like 20, right? Early 20s.
I'm in my early 20s. I was like maybe 22, somewhere around there. Maybe 22.
So here's the receipt. This is what you guys came to, right here.
Right. This is like the third time we come to San Francisco.
Yeah, but this is the first time everyone sees you, though. Not just the heads. This is like the scene, seeing you.
Yeah, got you. Yeah. So this is the World War III.
Yep.
In 1993, this is me going windmill 90, back to windmill.
Nice. You went to head first, so that was interesting.
Right.
So just real quick, I want to give a shout out because you guys came in, didn't know that there was a battle, showcase battle, and you guys didn't have music.
Right. We didn't. Right. We didn't have no music. This is Willpower.
Yeah, Willpower. Shout out to Willpower.
Shout out to Willpower.
So this is the first time everyone's seeing these combos in person besides Sean Ortiz. Sean Ortiz was already on a certain level, but we didn't see like multiple people that were good. Now this is Robbie, right? Oh, you and Robbie.
Yeah, this is Robbie and myself. Robbie to the left, if you're watching the screen, and I'm in the right. Yeah.
Look, we're all losing our minds. We never see this before. We've never seen a routine with. We've never seen this before.
This is actually a routine, a Hessman's routine. We had counts.
Nice.
Look at Will. Look at Will go to the UFOs, to the walks.
Yeah, UFOs.
Crazy.
Yeah,
so,
Go ahead, Profo.
Yeah, so the funny thing is, you walked in, you didn't know it was this type of competition with the showcase. The guy who provided, they already danced to this mix. And the guy's name is DJ Marlino, and he's DJ Marlino in San Diego now as a DJ and a radio. But he made this mix that you guys are dancing to.
Wow,
so that's the connection.
Wow, I didn't remember that. But yeah, it was something that this is a very special moment in time, just because we get so much love from the community. And there's so many Filipinos here.
Yeah.
I was shocked when I came to San Francisco, because like you said, you guys had a scene. This is Robbie.
Yeah.
Look at his incredible drills. Yeah,
you guys are going crazy because like you guys aren't used to like this many people, yeah?
Well, no, this is not like this. Not like this. Not like this. Not like this. It just people
like
just,
maybe club, maybe the hip hop shop, maybe a session, but not like everyone going. Oh!
Yeah, no. This is a very historical moment. Just a historical moment, just because how everybody was so into the dance, and they're responding to the moves. It's kind of like they know what we're doing is incredible, so they were like really into it and giving us so much props.
Right.
So once again, this is where you were talking about the San Francisco scene. I was shocked when I came to San Francisco because I saw so many, like a whole new generation of freestylers, but also they were getting down.
Yeah.
They were getting down onto the floor, and it like really surprised me because this is the new generation coming up, wanting to learn breaking. And like you said, maybe the Sean Ortiz was advanced, but a lot of them, they were actually they were learning. There was a few of them that were actually good, but at this moment in time, Pepe, maybe only Sean Ortiz and a few others were actually up there.
Oh, see, and that's the thing. So I was there. I was like, if you see the audience where you guys were, I was there. I was on the left.
Okay.
I was on the left side towards Robbie's side. I was there. And I remember I saw Willpower a few weeks ago, and he told me like, so you were teaching at the time was D-Rock, which was Toy Master at the time. My boy Glide, he was part of Rock Force. You guys were all teaching him how to Yoda and how to UFO on the side, and the side cipher. Then Willpower had to remind me, he's like, yeah, this guy went up to Ceasar like, yo, what's up? I'm Sean Ortiz, let's battle. And you're like, later. So he said, next time or something like that. I was like, word, okay. Word. So this is what I'm saying. Like everyone, and this is my flex, because I know that everyone's like, yeah, I've been breaking this long. We had this scene. It's like, no. Ceasar could say you for yourself. There was nowhere else in the US that was like that, right? Would you say? Not New York.
No, I would say here, I think back then was mainly, remember, it was a transition between freestyling, and going back into the ground. But yeah, LA had more of a freestyle scene, not as big that I could say like San Francisco. I was just very surprised how just, like the Invisibles crash because, right, like the DJs that like everybody was really into the dance, into breaking. So for me, it was a very inspiration. I wanted to train even more when I actually got to San Francisco, and I came back like 2 or 3 times thanks to Aki, and also got a shout out to Alex from the manager of the Invisibles Crash because actually
Alex Aquino, shout out to Alex Aquino, leader of the Zulu Nation at the time. in the Bay Area.
Yeah, he was the one who flew me out there one of the times, and but I was very, very shocked how just to see that generation wanted to learn breaking so much, you know. And I was shocked to see that the amount of people that were really behind the dance.
This is where I'm going to. And you told me this. We did a workshop. We judged an event we did with Ruin in Utah, 2013. And this is what you said to me. I remember we had this conversation, and we talked about that event because I was like, "Hey, I was at that event that you're talking about." You were like, "I seen 300 Filipino kids cheer for us. I was amazed." And I was like, and you said this to me, quote unquote. Let's hear it. Because of that, the World War, you want to bring back Radiotron.
Well, yes, that was because of what happened in San Francisco, and I was so moved and I was so inspired. Like I wanted to do something about it, you know. I wanted to do something about it, but we were traveling, you know. We were in Santa Cruz, San Francisco, and we started traveling, going to different places. We got sponsored by Converse, so we were flying out to Miami, and then we got sponsored by Puma. So I was busy. Not until I went to Europe, and I went to Europe in '93. I went to Switzerland, Denmark, and Germany, and then I came back and I went to Japan right away. When I came back from Japan, that's when I wrote a plan on the plane. I was like, okay, definitely, I got to do Radiotron. That was what called me into the action, because now I got inspired by San Francisco. I started doing performances. I went to Europe. Then I saw what they were doing in Europe, and I was like shocked. I feel like I was back in the 1980s all over again. So for me, I believe that it was a combination. San Francisco sparked it. It was a light bulb. And then I think when I came back from Japan and Europe, it caused me into action, because they wanted to know how was the scene out here in the West Coast. Europeans wanted to know, what is the scene? How many b-boys are in America? Who's breaking? Is there any more people, right? And yeah, there was, I mean, even though San Francisco had a scene, but there was only a few amount of b-boys that were top in their game. There was only a few. You can actually probably name them, right? So that's when I said, okay, I got to do Radiotron. I got to come back and do Radiotron. Before I did Radiotron, I had to actually do a research. Who owns the name of Radiotron? And that's when I found out, when I went to the records. That's when I found out who actually owned Radiotron. And to my surprise, it was Canon Film. So '93, I went to work. And in November of '93, I was supposed to do Radiotron. I had already organized and everything, but we had an earthquake. It didn't happen. So it took me back to the beginning, January 22nd of 1994. It was actually the first Radiotron I did.
And would you say that was the first official competition in America? That was like the style that you guys did.
Not the first one, but the second Radiotron, which is this one.
Oh, dang, it's pulling out receipts.
Yo, put that on the big screen right there real quick. Yes.
This right here, Profo, was I created, I videotaped it, you know, and this is style, Renegades versus Freestyle.
Freestyle, yeah.
You know, and as if you can read here, it says the first World Breaking Federation. The first World Breaking Federation. I'm thinking competition, right? I'm thinking athletic sports. I'm thinking like, okay, next level stuff. Why am I saying the first World Breaking Federation? Why am I saying even federation? Right? So this was the second Radiotron was done at the Gotham Club, and it was basically where like I said, Freestyle versus Renegades, and the Renegades versus taking the trophy. The first World Breaking Federation trophy goes to the Renegades.
Hey, Ceasar,
there you go.
Let me ask you: Did you watch WWF coming up around this time? Because when you say World Breaking, there's a World Wrestling Federation, the WWF, right?
No.
Maybe that could have. No. Oh, okay.
Well, or no, no. I was just thinking we need like a federation. We need a group of people to come together, and start doing things, because for me, when I started Radiotron, it was like I had a dream. It was a dream. I knew that that I was gonna start a movement that was the whole world was gonna start doing again. Everyone was gonna start breaking again. Everyone's gonna start, and then some of the crew members didn't believe me. Like Chuco didn't believe me. Like, nah, it's not gonna be like before. No, it's not gonna be like before. It's gonna be even better than before. But everyone in the world is gonna start breaking again, because I just saw the vision that we're in right now. I saw that back in 92, 93, that actually started in San Francisco and then throughout Europe and Asia. I saw it. It was a vision. So
this is what I'm saying. No one. The thing is, this is my old man rant flex stuff. Is that everyone came into the scene already at 2098 when there was already established in America, but you were the first to do. Most of the people that think of the b-boy culture, like the culture, like that's not culture. You pushed it. You were the first one with VHS competitions. Are you not?
Yes, I was actually the first one who created a professional VHS.
Yes, because everything was copies, right? Everything is like, there you go. There you go. Check out the flex on that. Check out the flex on that. Pull that up. Pull that up.
Bro. Pull it up, bro.
This right here is what did it. This right here. Radiotron 6 and 7.
Who did the art for that?
There was two graffiti artists, Slick and Create. But Slick did the whole layout. And then also, I'm sorry, there's one more. The guy who did this one right here, this is actually me right here. That's Drew Rock from our crew. And then the letters was done by Create, Radiotron, and who put it all nice together was actually Slick, the graffiti artist, a very well-known graffiti artist.
Shout out to Slick. So this is what I'm saying. This is the beginning of everyone else. So for me, Ceasar, I'm before this. So my attitude of it is from the 80s. It's you went to the jams. Like the jams were like Radiotron is a jam, meaning it was just dancing. There's no competition. Maybe you battle someone in the cypher. There's no one. The most competition was back then was a talent show, right?
Yes, it was more of a contest. Yeah.
Yeah. But you were the one that was like, no, you're going to go head to head and you're actually going to battle.
Exactly. I was already thinking competition structure wise. At that time, there was nobody else.
Thank you.
There was nobody else. Asia came from Colorado, and when she came out here, of course, she got introduced to the whole scene out here. But Asia and East Rock, they came to Radiotron. Same thing with Cross. They were all there witnessing this amazing experience, this amazing legendary battle between the Renegades and Style Elements. We were pretty much all there. So out of that, I believe that they got inspired to do
B-Boy Summit. Yeah, 100.
B-Boy Summit, and later on, freestyle session came that's holding the flag up to.
That's what I'm saying. You were the first. Like, no one actually credits that. When everyone talks about, I'm part of the culture. No, you're talking about what Little Ceasar created. Not the culture. not the culture me and Ceasar is from. Me and Ceasar from, it's a jam was a dance. Maybe they play some slow songs in the end of the night. Something like that. You were breaking, but then, it was a party. Yeah. But you created the structure that is now. Because Summit didn't even have competition until 97.
Miami.
Pro-Am,
exactly. So and I thank you guys for really just wanted to search the truth and wanted to know the roots of it, even before me. You know what I'm saying? Because I got to give credit to credit's due. But I thank you for bringing me up on board, and just so I can lay it down the way it is, because that's the way it is. Radiotron was actually the first event structure-wise in a form of competition. With that being said, and like I said, man, you know what? It wasn't just me, Profo and Jasoul. It wasn't just me. My wife was behind it, and Victor Orozco was another partner that partnered up with me, who actually helped me put together. He used to go by Buster Brown, but his real name is Victor Orozco, and I gotta give him so much props because he helped me at the very, very beginning, partner up, putting funding the event so it would happen. To want to make a difference in our community, so we can bring Breakin back. And the vision that God gave me.
Okay, so Pro and Ceasar, let's let Ceasar go first on this. You guys are mentioning the 80s culture. It seems like you're kind of dividing the competition from Radiotron on. Like, we see where it is today. It's about to be in the Olympics, right? It's the grandest stage of competition. How do you feel like the competition and that competition and where it is today, how it changed, how it shifted? We spoke about this in prior episodes, the cipher element about it. I'd love to hear Ceasar's take on that, and how you view the scene right now, from then on and from where you guys came from. Because I'm 95, so it's definitely after.
You want to go, Profo?
Well, Ceasar,
now you're the guest, bro. He hears me all the time.
Well, first and foremost, I am just happy that we have a scene. We're happy the fact that the people that are actually involved, that they're doing it together, they have a passion and they want to do something different. And I'm thankful that we have a platform. Basically, that's really what I'm saying. I'm glad that we have a platform in our dance. It's not dead. It's going through different transitions. It's reinventing itself. It's creating a new platforms that are about to actually go to the next step. So we're in that building stages of building and structure, how it's gonna take for the next 10, 15 years or even longer. So for me, I'm always thankful and happy that we have a platform. That maybe the platform is not all 100% there yet, then that's a different story. But we have a platform, and as long as we have a platform, that means that we have a future.
That's definitely something that I got from that. You guys, you talk about the dead periods within breaking. Since then, the competitions have been multiplying and scaling up, on a crazy level. So, much props, man. That's incredible to think about, and I don't really think about it like that. I've heard it from Profo before, and about Radiotron being it, but yeah, it definitely makes me view this jam and the whole story behind it in a different light, and it really shaped our culture to exactly what you're saying, man. To have a future, to be sustainable, and it is the platform itself.
Yeah, most definitely. So as long as, like I said, as long as we have a platform, and and I'm so thankful because, like I said, it might not be where we want to be at the moment, because they're working all the bolts and things, with the Olympics, with Rebel BC1. What I'm fascinated is by this. I'm fascinated by this. I'm fascinating is that we're going somewhere, okay? And I'm fascinated by the DJs, because what's happening is that it's the music is being specifically even to the next level, right? Because if you want to shift movement or culture, you have to start with music. If you want to change the dance, you want to bring the DJs. You want to bring music. And since we're now owning our own music that identifies the B-boy or the B-girl, right? It gives us more of a solid foundation, because now it's also kind of like inspiring or forcing the DJs to go back, either sample or create new music for people like you and I, right? To actually, or the new generation that's going to bring the next move. What's next? What's the next move? I'm fascinated. Like, okay, where's that breakthrough? Where's the next move? Like, I'm looking for that breakthrough. Who's going to do a flare with no hands? Who's going to do an air flare with no hands? Or, Who's gonna fly? Who's gonna you have to understand gravity, right? And space and time. So where is that next footwork move?
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
When is that yeah, that formula, like literally, and it's so music. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm fascinated that the DJs, what I'm seeing with DJs, they're going back, to do their homework, to come back and bring the new style of dance of tomorrow. And this new generation of what I'm seeing, man, I mean, I was in Russia in 2018, and what I saw in Russia with these kids, man, we better wake up. B-boys and B-girls of the USA, you better wake up. We better wake up. And wake up, because if we don't wake up, we're not going to be in the top 3 or the top 5. Because what I'm seeing right now, man, in Europe, man, like literally, I'm like, man, I saw that in when I was in Korea in 1996, when I saw in Korea the new generation, I was like, Korea is going to be the next generation. And it happened so fast, about a blink of an eye.
But yo, they were watching your tapes though.
But listen, they're disciplined.
Yeah.
And they were hungry. They don't
watch Radiotron though. Their foundation is Radiotron.
Yes, indeed. But look where they're at. Look where they're at. So, so it's not just the US. It's a worldwide competition. It's a world competition. So we need to, us here in America, we need to be good at all the way around. It's not just footwork. It's not just power. It's all, and then some what's coming up in the forefront. And then if we ain't doing that, I'm just saying.
With it.
Yeah, I'm with you. You hit it on the head right there. And I'm not surprised to kind of hear it from you, being an OG, being an innovator, being somebody that mastered the foundation and then elevated it, right? Challenged the standard. I truly believe that's one of the hallmark characteristics and values of breaking, is challenging the standard. And that looks a bunch of different ways. But the music that you're seeing, what would you recommend, one of our young listeners, and even myself and even Profo, how would you recommend we use music to our advantage with that in mind? Elevating the game, changing the standard.
Look, I always say this: don't want to be like nobody else. Each and every one, we're very unique at what we do. Some things come easier than other things.
Preach.
Focus on what comes easy to you. Everybody is a little different, and certain moves come a lot easier than others, right? And for some reason, we want to be like that other person. That's cool if you want to get inspired by that person, which is really cool. But I don't want to see another person like that person. I want to see something new. I want to see you. I want to see what you're going to actually contribute. So yes, learn the foundation, the basics, right? And then music is going to dictate, and then going to dictate your dance. But also, within the training, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. So don't be afraid to make mistakes, because of those mistakes are gonna create new movements. Either it's gonna be you or someone else that's watching you training that you made a mistake, that they're gonna actually even do that even better than you. So what I'm saying is, like, come into a culture, learn the basics, concentrate and focus on you, and then what you have to contribute into the culture. So then we have a different style, a different move, a new person that can be distinct from everybody else. That we say, oh, that's what's his name. Oh, that's Sean. Oh, that's Profo. Oh, that's Jasoul. You know what I mean? Like, that's, so that's what distinct us. Not like being like anybody else. No, we're very unique. So focus on your own uniqueness. And then be disciplined about it, because now it's not just, you got to be disciplined, because a lot of us, we don't discipline. I sometimes I go train and I see other kids where I go train, and I'm 53 years old, and how come I'm able to hold down at least 3 hours or 2 hours, and they're done like within 1 hour, they're done. I'm like, something is off here. And then they want to be the best. and then them being the best, they drink, they smoke, they're not disciplined, they're a little bit off, they're eating the wrong foods, so man, like when we're training and we're focused, I have no time for that. Why? Because I was focused. I was really focused, and I disciplined. So your discipline, your focus, and your hunger is going to take you where you want to go. Everything else, don't worry about it. Don't worry about what everybody's going to say, or oh, he's not doing this, or she's not doing this. Don't worry about what other people have to say. Focus on you, and then go and have fun, which is the most everything, which is the most important thing. Go have fun, because that's what we did when we were kids, and I'm still doing that. I'm still having fun.
Perfect.
Hell yeah. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. What do you I mean, I think, well, you know what came to mind when you're talking, Ceasar, it's like, I think we were so creative because we allowed mistakes before. I think what kids are afraid of now, and this is to you, Jay, too, everyone's worried about execution. Back then, execution, we cheered for the attempt. Like, we're like, did you see what he tried to do? And I think that made us, and this is what we're talking about. Like, how do you be creative when everyone's trying to look the same? Because everyone's too busy trying to win. No one's out there taking risks. Back then, tell me, Ceasar, there was moves you did that you didn't know you could do, but you just let it go. Hey, whatever happens, and then you created something from that, right?
Yes, that's called.
I think that's what's missing.
That's called being instead of doing.
Oh. I feel like that's what's missing from the scene, is that because everyone's so worried about execution and doing it so they can win versus like, let me take a risk, and maybe if I fall on my face, I fall on my face, but hey, I tried something different. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's be halos happen because someone made a mistake.
Word.
A lot of the moves happen, the Cortez or the aerial, it's a move that you crashed at the very beginning, but then somehow, right, we're not afraid to like take that risk. Exactly. And then you just work the details about it. But you just gotta have fun with what you're doing, man, and be hungry about it and passionate about it. Everything else is gonna fall into place. Don't be concerned about this. Don't be concerned about that. That all, it's what you really want. It's what you really want. Me, I wanted to make a difference in the community. I wanted to bring breaking back, all the elements, bring it in the forefront. That look, and because I did that, how many people, how many times I got kicked out of a club. How many times I knock on doors and they didn't open, but I kept knocking and I kept knocking. And now I understand, because the Bible tells us, if you want something, keep knocking, the door will be open. Keep seeking, because you will find. And that's what I was doing. I was knocking, I was seeking until the door opened. And then God opened the doors that I was in the radio station promoting. I was doing everything. Look, this right here, this VHS right here, I met Jeffrey Daniels from Shalimar in Japan. Jeffrey Daniels was the guy who taught Michael Jackson the backslide or the moonwalk. He got a hold of this. I gave it to him. He showed it to Michael. Next thing you know, next month, people from Michael Jackson call me, say, hey, Ceasar, we want to go to Radiotron and we want to document your event, but we want to be the only ones. Is it cool? I was like, my mission was to start breaking all over the world. Who better yet, if Michael's interested to come and document my event, who better yet to help me promote? Popping, locking, breaking. Right? I mean,
it's big names,
everything will line up. You don't worry about that. You don't worry about, everything will line up. You just gotta keep focused and doing what you're doing. We wanted to do Windmill 1990. Keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. We wanted to do headspins in such a way, like baby headspins. We were the first one who created. Orca was it, the first one who created the baby headspins. Who else was doing it? And that all came by mistake. By saying, let me try this. Oh, I felt, but this feels good. Okay.
Yeah, you're describing a process that touches back on what you said the frequency and the duration of your training, actually putting yourself in with space-time to make these mistakes. A lot of people, they seek others a little too much. And then in the information era, they want their shortcut. They don't want to put the man hours in.
That's it.
Discovering and the space-time. Yeah, there's space and time around our physical presence, our environment, but the music, there's kind of going back to that. That's kind of what guides you into all that.
Yeah, that's gonna create your dance.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's gonna create your time, and yeah, shortcuts. No shortcuts.
Oh, fight. Get
no
inspired
shortcuts.
and take your time. This is a lifelong process.
Now that I've a little more I study the dance more. For me now, even the way that when we teach, focus on, and this is what takes actually time. And the younger b-boy or even the adult b-boy might not know this or not pay attention to it, even at the very, very beginning. But when you pay attention to momentum, timing, your setup, and your technique, when you focus on those 4 things, and here's one more, okay? Your mindset, the mindset that you're actually going into training, if you pay attention to those 5 things, you, my friend, are going to actually learn and speed up. That is, instead of taking you 10 years, you're going to do it in about 3 to 4 years. If you pay attention to those 5 things that I said, your momentum, your technique, your setup, your timing, and the mindset that you're going into your training. Because you can go train for 5, 6, 7 hours, but if you got the wrong training and the wrong mindset, it's going to take you a lot of years to actually develop. So allow yourself for others to critique you and then take that. So then you can actually learn the dance the way you want to learn.
Yeah, you're talking about the objectivity, right? And kind of leaving the abstraction out of you're talking about biomechanics. You're using physics and the human biological system, right? When you say momentum, technique, timing, and all that, and music is the magical tool that we have to fine tune all of that. What you're talking about.
Yes, absolutely. Remember, we were talking about a lot of us. We want to be like somebody else. Stop, and then we create a persona of not being real. We say, hey, stop being fake, right? Stop being fake. Just be real. Be you. Start being like somebody else. Just be you. So when me, for example, when I connect to me, right, my spirit is the one that's actually leading me and dancing, and that's where you see the difference. If you know who you are, and if you're giving it all you have, it's so spiritual. People don't even think about this, man, but it's all spiritual. So you're giving it all versus thinking about what I'm gonna give. I'm being about what I'm giving. I'm just being about it. I'm just being and then my being is gonna dictate my doing versus trying to think what I'm gonna do. Nah, you just be about it.
You're talking about being authentic, right? When you're being it,
being real.
Thinking it's not ingrained or it's not from your spirit, from your soul. So you got to think about it. But when it's authentic, when you're being your authentic self, that's what you see. That's what you're explaining right now. It's powerful.
Yes,
stuff.
And that's the difference between Profo and another b-boy. When you have your own being, you're representing who you are, and that's what makes us different.
I love it, man. Yeah, that's definitely my era too, like the 90s.
I agree.
Let me just share with you guys. So this is one of the Radiotron. This is like black and white. This is one of the Radiotron. I think this was radio. Hold on, let me see. I think this was Radiotron number 3 or something like that. But I just want to share some.
Oh, $300 cash prize, not bad for the time.
Yeah, February, and these are some of the
classic font.
right? And then we went from
You got
that.
Curse Blow in there.
We went for that to like color.
Oh, dope.
You know, these are some of the flyers. Sorry, it's backwards. Yeah, these are just some of the flyers. This is 95.
It's so sick.
Right, so we have like very different flyers.
Yeah. I mean, all really dope art, and then you have the legible and kind of professional side in the back. I love it.
Yeah. Then we have Miles. Miles did this one. Rest in peace, graffiti artist.
Sick.
Yeah, a little bit different. And this was done by Slick, graffiti artist. The whole layout.
97. Hell yeah.
This is where the New York City Breakers came down with.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that performance.
Yeah, you remember that performance? Okay, yeah.
Yo, it's my birthday, May 24th.
May 24th?
Yeah.
You were 12?
12, yep.
Yeah, and then these are some of the, some other.
Yo, how do I get that?
Just a few of them. Say again?
Just a few. That's so modest.
Yo, he has to pull out the receipts, bro. He has to pull out the receipts.
Just have to.
Have to.
And
so
then
so
this was another video. This is another video. Another video.
Dope.
That's Willpower in the front.
Oh, damn. The art's getting more advanced.
Let's see.
Sick.
Yeah, a little more futuristic, right?
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Yeah, but there you go, man.
Where could we get those flyers? I mean, it's like a
I know, right?
art. Yeah, man. I mean, the art of it is so dope, man. Priceless, this guy says. Exactly.
Yo, so I don't have any questions because like I'm just happy to be like,
oh man,
I'm happy that you're here, Ceasar, because I've been talking about this for a long time and everyone looks at me like I'm crazy.
Really?
They're like, and like, I'm sure Ceasar was surprised I pulled out the iced tea and his Darlene stuff. And yo, I'm telling you, I do my homework, man. What kind of journalist would I not be? What kind of journalist I am if I didn't do my homework?
I see. Let me see if I can put another something here.
Ooh,
this is
more treats.
This is you heard of Henji and Evo E, the DJs? Yeah. So this you heard of Kid Tough?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a picture. We had a performance with Ice-T, Henji, and Evo E. Those are Ice-T's DJs. And there was a producer. Forget the name of the producer. There's also Kid Tough, Fernie Fern. This is us at the near Universal Studios.
Where are you at?
I'm on top of Evo E. He's carrying me. Evo E, and then Henji in the bottom. Then Kid Tough, the little brother, on sitting down, and that's Fernie Fern. They're both rest in peace, But Henji and Evo E, they're still around. They're still DJ for Ice. Those are his DJs.
Sick.
Yeah, that's like a really old. This is Ozrock.
Damn, crazy.
Yeah, man, he was wow, Ozrock, man. Miss that guy, incredible, man. I have a lot of documentation. I have a lot of the old Radiotron flyers as well, like the '80s, Yo, but maybe another day we'll hook up and show you.
Yeah, I'm serious. I would love to get a copy of any of those. Do you make copies of those? How do I get a copy?
Yeah, well, let me see what I can do, man. Shoot me your address, or if you're coming down here,
honestly, I took Ceasar's workshop back then, and I like how he teaches. You gotta hook up with Jay. Ceasar, you gotta hook up with Jay because he has good explanation of the things that you say. Like you're like, I remember the main thing I got from your workshop is like, you gotta sit, do the sit, like
the technique.
Yeah, the techniques, sit. And I was like, oh, okay, damn, I never thought of it like that. That's to this day, that still helps me today, right? As far as learning power at 47 years old, trying to get power.
Isn't that amazing though, that we don't realize that's what we do because the eye doesn't see it, but that's what we do.
Oh, we feel it. people who uncover and they discover balance and force, right, within the patterns, whether it's angular momentum or power moves, that we're doing. There's things are happening and we sense it, we feel it, but there actually is language for it. It's in biomechanics. It's in physics. So
yes,
when the terms
I'm gonna give you a jewel. I'm gonna give you a jewel for everybody. Okay, this takes probably years to actually get access to. If you wanna have a breakthrough in dance, focus on the unknown. Ooh. Not on the things that you know. Focus on the things that you don't know, and then trust it, and then you'll have a breakthrough.
Oh, dude, that's the hot take right there, bro. Focus on the unknown, bro. Somebody put that on a shirt and quote Ceasar. Credit Ceasar for that. That's so powerful, compelling.
Because that's what. Thank you. That's what Air Force Crew did. A lot of us when we're kids. If you go back and think about it, most of the times we're there. We don't have a reference to anything. The only reference is the unknown.
Yep.
And that's access. That's access. That's access to the power that God has given us.
Yep. Incredible.
And trust it.
There you go. So as we're about to wrap it up, we're almost 2 hours in. Yo, we've been through it. Yeah, we've been through a journey, bro. Like on the Ceasar, just to give us a critique. Has anyone in interviews asked you these certain types of questions before?
No, this was more of a timeline. So this is very different. This is very, very different, and this is more of our timeline, and it's just because we are basically we're speaking the same language, and you've done some research, basically, and when you've done your research, it's just something happens, though everything is in alignment, and what's not in alignment, it becomes in alignment because it gets corrected, so this is a very, very different interview because it's more of a timeline driven, to actually fill the gaps. And also, like you say, Profo, the Bay Area has made an impact, and our world doesn't. I don't think the world knows that. And I always talk about it. I always, like I said, the Bay Area made an impact. You guys had a scene, and that scene, influenced all of us as well. You know what I mean? So, and out of that scene, a good B-boys came out of that scene that the world actually get to know. B-Boy Wicked being one of them, mm-hmm. Jay being another one, Sean being another one, mm-hmm. and we can go on and we can go on, mm-hmm. and I mean sidewalk breakers. A lot of people knew about them. Now people know about them, So, and I was able to glad to witness what San Francisco had at that time, because I was inspired by it. I was really inspired by that, and then the respect and the love that I got from the Bay Area you saw the screaming. Jay got to see the screaming. Everyone's
chicken skins.
Yeah, man. I it was so crazy that I was at a moment where people start bowing to me, and I'm like, no. I was like, get up, no. Get up. You can do the same thing I can do. You just gotta spend more time with it. I just didn't, what I mean? I'm not a god in any shape or form, but people were just bowing, and I'm not a god, and God is up there.
I remember that. I think I remember that.
And
I think I remember they were like, oh my God. Oh my God.
It made me feel uncomfortable, really. And not that I knew about God even then the way I know him now, but man, it was a very memorable moment in time that I would take for the rest of my life, what San Francisco, and all you guys, and the love and the respect that you guys gave the crew and myself. It's unforgettable, so, and that's the power of this beautiful movement. You know what I mean?
And you gave back. I mean, the first guys to win Radiotron was Renegades. You gave them careers.
Wow. Wow.
You know, if you think about it, you gave them, you gave not just Renegades, you gave Style Elements careers too, because that year, in that 96, that's when they beat Renegades. And then, you know, Sway in the morning just was talking to Joey Coy about that Radiotron. So Joey Coy was on the Sway in the morning, and he talked about when Style Elements battled Renegades, they knew that they saw something that was different, but he was at Radiotron.
Right?
Yeah, much props to those guys, man. Much props to Sway and Tech and Carmelita, because those guys opened the doors to me, not knowing their history. They opened the doors to me so I can come and promote Radiotron. That was such a blessing and very loving. Just they show me so much love, man. I actually felt like an artist when I was in their show. They treated me with such respect and an artist for what I was doing. Like I felt appreciated by them, you know, just like any other artist will come in and promote their CD, their record, you know. And so much love and props to Sway and Tech and Carmelita, you know, for giving me that space in that time in the 90s, you know. So I would always appreciate them.
Dope, man. So dope.
Jay, you got any last questions before we do our thing?
I have so many questions, Ceasar. All throughout every topic that you spoke about, I have like 3 loaded. You know, I'd really love to reach out to you on a personal level and talk to you about what I'm doing with biomechanics and breaking in science. I think we have a lot to bounce back and forth to each other.
Yeah, man.
Uncovered.
That'd be awesome, bro. Because I'm fascinated by speed. We study physics and positions and timing and yeah, man. That's okay. Sounds like a plan.
I have the principles broken down right here. This is a
wow.
He kind of helped me with the graphics on this, but it's profound stuff, man. I will reach out to you on a separate level if you invite me to.
Are you in the Bay Area?
No, I'm in Las Vegas actually.
Oh, you're Vegas. Okay. All right. Well, you're only like 3 hours away from me.
That's true. Can I reach out if I come down?
Yeah, man. I'm over here in Ontario.
Sick.
I'm at the Ontario airport.
Awesome. So I do have one question that really was sticking with me throughout. Is can you give us a list or just name off some foundational moves? You mentioned you started with the handspin, the backspin. What are some other ones? Because you mentioned, you know, your guys' approach was mastering the foundations, challenging the standard of it, elevating it. You know, for our listeners, like what are some of the foundational moves you'd recommend starting with and mastering?
Yeah, you know, you got to remember also back then we didn't have the exercises because we weren't paying attention to the exercises. That's why it took so long for us to actually learn and go through the burns and, you know, and the pains and the aches, you know, that. But now, like Profo was saying, when I'm teaching, you know, before you even learn to move, there's exercises that you got to do before you even learn to move.
Yeah, you gotta activate your body in the right way.
Yeah, so each move have different exercises, but you know, all the way across, you know, like I was teaching when I teach the class, there's certain things that we have that we do that we don't recognize that we're doing. You know, so when someone tells me I don't have balance, it's not that you don't have balance. Actually, you do have balance. It's that the fact is the matter is that your body is in the wrong position that you think. So when you put the body in a right position, then it gives you balance. So you do have balance. You just gotta apply the technique then that gives you balance. So you have to learn the exercise. So if I'm teaching you a windmill, I'm gonna give you exercises before I even teach you the windmill. And when I teach you those exercises are gonna get through you where I can teach you a windmill within an hour, and you have a concept of a windmill, and then you're able to do a windmill within 1 hour versus 3 months or 6 months.
1 hour.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I can teach you a headspin. Before I even teach you a headspin, I have to teach you the concept of a headspin and what are the mechanics that holds you up. So you got to do the exercises, so then when you're ready to spin, you understand what you're doing versus good luck.
Yeah, certain things you don't want to explore the unknown too much. Like
just
Well-
stand in your head and spin like that. That's what people say. Just go faster.
Feel it
Like,
out.
okay.
well, you know, for some people might work, but not for the majority of it. And
Yes,
even
yes.
for that person that's gonna do the head spins, just go ahead and spin. Yeah, he might be able to pull it out, but that's gonna be out of luck. He don't know what he's doing. But you have to actually understand and have the concept and know what you're doing. So then, therefore, you will complete a head spin, or you have an understanding what to do when you're gonna fall. You know, you have a concept. Okay, oh, that's what I need to do. So we have to teach. Before I teach you head spins, I have to teach you the mindset, the concept, and then the exercises of that head spins or that windmill or that backspin.
Yeah. The core competencies of these moves are key, and it's dope to hear. I didn't know you still train people. It's dope to hear that.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, the tiered training system is what it sounds like. Building the core competencies for these moves.
Yes, and yes, exactly. That's why Prof was like, I can still remember. You have to sit. Oh, I have to sit. I have to do that. Yes, nice. Because that's something that we do. So your sitting position might be your resting position. You know. So look, if you look at head spins, for example, every time there's a few things that are happening. If you pause it, if you can pause that, Prof, if you can pause that. Okay, right here, my hips, I'm in a sitting position, but you don't know that. You don't see that. I'm in a sitting position here. This right here is so. Can you go back, rewind it a little bit
to the taps?
Yeah, little less, right there, or a little more, right there. There's a little more. Oh, that's a bad one. That's a bad. Okay, so for instance, it's a bad, but it's okay. You can leave it there. Pause. Okay. Anyways, there's a sitting position. All of us b-boys, we have to learn how to sit, because the sitting position is your resting. This is your control. But most people are not thinking this. They're not sitting on the hips. Okay, so so when I do head spins, what I want to teach you in the whole concept of head spins is that when you get on your head, you have to learn how to sit being upside down. Most people are not thinking that. They just want to spin. So you have to learn how to sit, because the sitting gives you balance. It positions you. Your back will get straight. Then you have to learn the legs. The legs, they do certain things. Every time I tap, the legs adjust. You have to, because the leg, every time you tap, your legs go down. So you have to bring them up and adjust them. Yeah. And that's happening constantly. And you got to be in a sitting position. Now your arms, they're doing a twister flex. Your arms are going even before your legs, but you don't know that. Yeah. But you don't know that. So my point of this is, like, I have to give you exercises of the legs first. I have to give you exercises of sitting. Like, I'm sitting right there, but you don't know that. You what you see is the whole thing.
Yeah,
I'm sitting right there too in a double halo. In a halo, I'm sitting right there too. I'm sitting on flares. You don't see that.
Yeah, when you're sitting, you're essentially in flexion. You're plugging in your ribs into your pelvis, creating pressurization in your core. A lot of movement. I mean, I'm sure you know this already, but it does come from the core like that. So not only is it creating pressurization, sick. Look at that double. Is that you?
Yeah.
Sorry.
But that's what he calls the Cortez or the aerial.
The Cortez or the aerial.
With that sitting position, you're stacking your pelvis over your ribs, which are the two central structures, right, of your torso, aka your power cylinder. So the posture, the balance, everything you're talking about, man. I'm really, really fascinated to hear or learn about the exercises you have for all that stuff, man.
Yeah, a simple way is when you stand up. So Jasoul, can you stand up real quick?
Yep.
You stand up, and then I ask you, how come when you're standing, you're not falling? Why is it that you're not falling when you're standing?
Because I have my center of mass accounted for. This is where all force vectors centralized right here, and it's right over my base of support, and it is in stacked alignment with my body's structure. So my center of mass is accounted for.
Yeah, so center gravity, your center of gravity is like right on top of your head. It goes through your pelvis, and it goes to the center of your legs. And your hips are in a certain position, your legs are in a certain position. Therefore, your center of gravity, that's why you don't fall, because the technique of your body is placed in a certain position. And you're actually sitting. Now to actually get used to it and learn it being upside down, that's what you have to do, and have learned the concept that that's where your body needs to be being upside down. And that's what we get used to it. That's why a lot of the you get used to it. Your brain needs to get used to, kind of like astronauts. And astronauts, they have this type of training, what we're talking about. They go and they try to be upside down to see where they're at in space and time. So
B-boys would be good astronauts, wouldn't they?
Yes, that's why we're very good stunts. B-boys are very good at if they want to play in the movies, there's stunt, what do they call them, stunts, right? Yeah. Stunt coordinators or stunts?
Yes.
Stuntmen, right?
Body awareness is what you're talking about as well, right? In any orientation, inverted, facing down, facing up, prone, supine, and even upright.
So you have to practice that, even in headspins and even when you're doing power. But how can I practice that if I don't know that this is what I have to practice? Then it's going to take you a lot of years. That's what I'm saying, that instead of taking you 10 years, 7 years, it could take you 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Once you start thinking in this mindset to pay attention to the technique and the way that we're actually moving, then it's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different game.
Man, I'm geeking out right now.
And then you start learning. Okay, now I have the technique. Now I have to create momentum and keep my technique. Because when you create momentum, your technique will be off. So now you have to learn how to maintain that technique. So when you move, you're moving with the same technique.
Yeah, and even maintaining momentum, right? There's static, or the stabilization phase, right, of the technique, how we position our body, the posture, and then while in momentum, how we the technique in the postures, the dynamic posture, if you will, in momentum, in motion.
Yes, in motion.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to it for sure. How we learned is we try it and we want it so bad, and we don't have, I'm from Hawaii, I didn't have surfboards, otherwise I would have probably surfed. I came up in poverty myself. I didn't have anything, so I had my body just like what you were talking about. And we just tried it and tried it and tried it 7 days a week on carpet, at school, wherever we could, until we got it. And that's how we discovered. So we developed this intelligence, right, of how we sense proprioception. I know pro, it's in his name, and he likes using that word. We developed this body sense, right, how we sense our body's weight in space. And we discovered it takes years. It takes years to do it, unless you're fortunate as a kid to be able to not have our body's muscle fibers oriented in the sagittal plane, which is flexion and like this. Our bodies are super malleable. So learning coiling mechanics, learning how to rotate and all that stuff is a lot easier and a lot faster. And the bruises aren't as big.
Yes, right? You're going to have less pain. Exactly. Less pain. But it's amazing, because as kids, we say like, oh, kids, they learn a lot faster than, right? Oh man, how come kids, they learn it that way? Because they don't have that many conversations in their mindset. They don't have those. They don't have conversations. They don't reference it to anything. So they just do it.
Yes.
But then that's where but they also need help, because they need to understand the concept of it.
Oh, big time.
So they can actually do it constantly, not like, oh man, I hope when we hit 1990s, I hope I hit 1 or 2, right? You don't have that consistency, right? So that's what we have to like guide the kids. But man, like, dude, it's like the kids get it, man, right away, because they don't have no conversations. They listen and then they do it.
Yep.
But a lot of us, we don't listen, or if we don't listen, and then the conversation we're having about ourselves, about the move, or whatever it is you're thinking, then therefore it prevents you from actually learning it a lot faster. So we have to remove those conversations so that we can get back to being a kid again. So there's nothing. So out of nothing, then you create everything.
That's what I preach. That's what I preach. That's where I am in my life in Breakin.
Right.
I'm a kid.
Right?
I'm a kid.
Yes, man.
I love it.
We have
I'm a
to
kid.
be a kid.
I don't care about battles. I don't care about the drama. I just do it.
Yep.
It's a
Having
beautiful
fun.
thing and much respect, and it's
Having
inspiration
fun.
for me, bro. Yeah, you're doing it, and you too, Ceasar, still doing it at your age, man.
Yeah, man. I for me, man, I give God all the glory, because He's giving me everything, and I give God the glory, man. For me, it's really Him. I'm just His vessel that He's allowing me to do the desire of my heart, and He gives me the platform and the ability, man. Even at at my age, I mean, I'm just a kid, like Prof said, I'm just a kid again, I'm just a kid, So I
Yeah.
give glory to our Heavenly Father for everything that He's given me. I have not done it by myself. My wife has been with me. Other people has been with me. I had a team of people with me. And then the one that basically has been with me is basically God that's giving me the strength and the ability to actually, man, like sometimes people say, how did we do it? I was like, it's all God. It's all God. Because how do we have all this energy and we created all this, the Radiotron? Because, man, an event, it takes a long time. It takes an army and a force and time and money and a little bit of everything. So that really takes manpower. But the strength, man, God gave me that, and I'm so thankful forever because He's opening and has always had favor upon me, But yeah, so I just give Him all the glory, and I thank you guys for giving me this opportunity too.
Man. All right. So I think we said a lot of things. Jason, you got more questions?
I got more, but I'm gonna hit him up. I gotta hit him up. Is this too much?
Dude, I mean, you guys. That's why it's like it's good. It was Jay's idea. Hey, can you hit up Ceasar? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna hit up Ceasar. This guy just called me this guy texted me the other day. I was like, okay, of course. So I was glad to facilitate you guys meeting too, because I knew you guys would get along. Like I really knew that you guys would get along because you guys, like I said, I took his workshop in Salt Lake City, and I just remember like, yo, this guy knows how to teach. That's what I remember. This guy knows how to teach.
Man, it's a skill.
Profo.
Yes,
on that note, I'm still open to go up there, man, in San Francisco.
Oh yeah.
I'm still open for that.
Yeah,
man.
so he wants to teach the aerial. He wants to teach a specific class on the aerial or the Cortez.
Yeah.
So him and Shonsky, shout out to Shonsky. So yeah, we got to make it happen. And I'll help you out, Ceasar. I'll help put it out there.
I got it on blue floor, but I really would love to get it on hard.
He has the secret. Yo, he has the secret. You saw it. You saw that thing where he did it, man. So it's a Cortez or aerial class or missile. Some people call it the missile.
Missiles.
Yeah, I'll post about it. Once everything is like, because I've hit that move on gymnastics floor.
Yeah.
But it's like what you said. I hope I make it. I want to hit it every time. That's what I want.
Yes, and that's what you get. Because when you got it, you go try it in the concrete.
Yeah.
That's when I say, okay, I got this move. I'm gonna go and do it in the concrete.
Damn. Yes.
And that's when you in the concrete. Yeah,
Dude,
the concrete, because
that move's so dangerous in the concrete too.
Well, you have to train it. You have to know what we have to know what we're doing, right?
Yeah. If you got the secrets, bro, because I'm just throwing myself.
When you're teaching the
workshop, let's do the workshop on concrete,
dude.
Well, for I don't think it would. You have to be like a certain advance to actually do that.
Word.
To do it in the concrete, because you need a little bit of a cushion for that particular move. You don't want to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
But when you have it, it's when you can do it in the concrete. That's when okay, I got this move. This is a move that because there's not many people that There's only a few in the world.
That's true.
You know,
Yeah.
there's only a few people in the world that actually can do this. You know, so so yeah, I would love to teach this particular move.
Oh, see, since we have you, I mean, be as open as you want, or you can shut me down right away. What would it take to get you to do a workshop here in the States? I know, it varies location,
Yeah.
travel to get there. What would it take to get someone like Ceasar to do a workshop?
Well, I mean, look, man. I mean, if I'm gonna go there just one day and come back, or am I spending a day, a night over? It's a whole different ball game. So it really depends. It really depends. But I can show you a text.
Okay, cool.
I mean, it doesn't take much, bro. Other than just, hey, we want me there. Okay, well, let's make it happen.
Okay. Excellent, man. Yeah, that'll be it for me for now. Man, yeah, you definitely took me on a journey and filled a bunch of gaps. Like, yeah. Thank you very much, Ceasar.
So
you're welcome.
Before we sign out again, you can find. Is this the only place they can find you? Right here, Instagram.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Little Ceasar. All right. This has been
YouTube. I mean the YouTube. But
okay, cool. Same thing. Little Ceasar Air Force Crew.
Yeah, actually, Little Ceasar Rivas.
Okay.
My last name Rivas Cortez. Yeah. By the way, one of my last name is Cortez. That's why I call it Cortez.
That's called the Cortez. Oh. Got it.
I'm gonna call it that from
Got it.
We call it double aerial, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean it is though. I mean the Cortez is in Spanish, Cortez means like when you cut. It's like a cut.
Ooh.
Like you cut it.
Yeah.
But an aerial is hey, you're flying in the air, right? You twist, other people talk about, you're twisting, you're doing a windmill twist. I hear all kinds of names, but the aerial or the Cortez, aerial, because as well, giving props to Ozrock, because it's Ozrock that actually did it. And then I elevated it and I took it further. We were both doing it. He had it, but he never cleared it. So much props, of course, to Ozrock, and rest in peace. He was fearful. He was one of those guys that he was just no fear, man. And he did that move. He never cleared it. He always landed in the chest. Oh. But I took it a step further, and actually clear it and master it,
Just before we sign out too, I want to shout out to some of the people that Ceasar taught. Give a shout out to B-Boy Ivan, because I remember when he didn't have power, and then he did.
Yeah, Iron that Monkey. Was 92, 93.
Yeah, Iron Monkey, Caveman.
Sean Supreme.
There you go. He took that Cortez to the next level. Caveman took that shit to the next. That guy was doing it off his freaking shoulder and stuff, like headspin shoulder. Then Cortez, like what the 90 to Cortez, 90 shoulder Cortez. I was like, what? This guy is a beast. Shout out to Caveman, bro.
Shout out to Caveman out in Mexico, man. He's out there in Mexico.
So there you go. You can find Little Ceasar on YouTube. Little Ceasar Rivas Cortez. You can find him on Instagram. Jasoul, where can they find you?
All the places you already know. High State Rocker, that's my personal. Everybody look that up. Also BTR Breakin, that is without the G, Breakin. I'm on YouTube as well. Thank you, Pro. There it is. Facebook, all the TikTok, all that good stuff. You can definitely find me here weekly on the Gearhdz podcast, Breakcast as well.
Yep. And you can find me on the ProfoWon channel. You can check out my show, The Trades, one of the longest running B-Boy podcasts there are. And you can find me on Instagram at PROFO_FLGZ. This has been episode 20, Breaking Anthropology, Part 3, History of Los Angeles with Little Ceasar. All I gotta say is peace.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And
God bless
see you guys later. Good show,
God
guys.
bless.